I'm going into the message, and a little bit into the message, we will actually read the word about life as it is printed in your bulletin. The word about life comes from Matthew's gospel, or as I prefer to say it, Matthew's witness, Matthew's testimony. It presents different pieces of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount through the lectionary over these last couple of weeks and moving forward. And this morning's piece of the Sermon on the Mount is often interpreted as a moral rule to not swear in public. It's a good idea, and quite honestly, I do hear more and more swearing in public. People are pretty mindless of it. Am I the only one that's experienced that? Have you also heard that? And well, the staff thought that I should preach on this because they experienced me as an expert of swearing in public. And let me tell you, they're not too bad themselves. However, this really isn't the point. Jesus went around doing this thing of preaching about the kingdom of God and living as if the kingdom of inclusion and the kingdom of justice, the kingdom of love, the kingdom of spirituality, intimacy with spirit. He lived as if it was a real thing. And in fact, he did his best to make it a real thing everywhere that he went and with every person that he met. His vision and living out the kingdom of God was so real and so compelling that he often attracted people who wanted to be a part of it. They said, I see you, I see what you're doing, I've seen the transformation that takes place in the lives of broken people, and I want to be a part of that. A story told about Jesus is about someone who did everything right, wanted to follow Jesus. And the young person was very well off. He was a devout, moral person. And yet Jesus perceived that there was something that stood in his way that kept him from realizing all of his hopes, all of his dreams, and all of his spiritual potential. So in response to the person's question about how do I get to the final realization of the kingdom of God in my own life, Jesus said, give everything you own to the poor. Walk away from your privilege. Walk away from your privilege and follow me. Now, there's a couple of lessons here. One, don't ask the question if you suspect you will not like the answer. Always good advice. But more importantly, when you say yes to one thing, you are saying no to another. Now, when you say no to one thing, you are saying yes to another. Because you see, life is not static. We are always moving. We're always moving away from one thing and always moving toward another. We are always spiraling, and we are either spiraling up or we're spiraling down. And I know for myself, I would love to take a vacation from moving. Not just to be a couch potato in my home, but from time to time to be a couch potato from life. The root word in vacation is vacate. But that isn't the way life is. And this spiritual dynamic of human life is present in today's Word About Life, and you can read along in your bulletin. It comes from Matthew chapter 5, a part of the Sermon on the Mount. Again, you have heard that it was said to those of ancient times, "You shall not swear falsely, but carry out the vows you have made to the Lord." But I say to you, do not swear at all, either by heaven, for it is the throne of God, or by the earth, for it is God's footstool, or by the holy city Jerusalem, for it is the city of the presence of the holy. And do not swear by your head, for you cannot make one hair white or black, or make more hair come. I've tried. Let your word be yes, yes, or no, no. Anything more than this comes from the evil one. Butchie, can you hear me? It's good to know these devices work. Thank you. If you think you are spiritual but not religious, then the Sermon on the Mount is for you. This whole section gives practical examples of what it means to be spiritual but not religious. The point is that when we swear, we express such intensity that we think it gives us power beyond ourselves to overcome our human situation. This is not about cussing. This is not about swear words. This is about our expanded, puffed up ego and our attempts to bring God's power to work on our behalf and on our agenda. Doing things in the name of God for our sake. Now, I know that is not what you mean when you hit your thumb with a hammer and you let an expletive fly. And again, this is not what Jesus is talking about. The preceding verses before these were about murder and adultery. Jesus said, "You have heard it said, 'Thou shalt not kill,' but I say to you, there is a higher and deeper spirituality beyond refraining from killing. Do not carry in your heart the fear. Do not carry in your heart the anger that drives you to kill." Jesus said, "You have heard it said that you should not commit adultery, but I say to you, there is a higher and deeper spirituality beyond refraining from committing adultery. Love your partner. Love your partner in such a way that neither of you look for intimacy beyond that you find in each other." See, it's about a higher and deeper spirituality, not about a religious following of the rules. When Jesus says, "You shall not swear falsely, but carry out the vows you have made," he is saying there is a higher and deeper spirituality beyond the swollen ego that thinks it can call down damnation, fire from heaven. He is saying you can be impeccable with your word. And that is more than enough in a world where people's word means so little. Sometimes when there is so little at stake, and we live in comfort and we live in privilege, it is easy to keep our word. And the opposite is also true. That when there is so little at stake and we live in comfort and privilege, it is easy to break our word, thinking it's really not a big deal. To uncover the deeper, profound meaning of the word about life presented to us this morning, we need to visit another time in history. The time of one of Shadow Rock's founding theologians, Dietrich Bonhoeffer. In 1938, in Germany, he gave a sermon on Confirmation Sunday. Confirmation Sunday is when young adults confirm their baptism vows. Their baptism vows meaning that they are not going to be of this world. They'll live in this world, but not of this world. It is the Sunday that young adults make a vow, and the entire congregation renews their own vows through them. And this is what he said in that sermon on Confirmation Sunday. You have only one master now, but with this yes, with this vow to God, belongs just as clear a no. Your yes to God requires your no to all injustice, to all evil, to all lies, to all oppression and violation of the weak and the poor, to all ungodliness, and to all mockery of what is holy. Your yes to God requires a no to everything that tries to interfere with your serving God alone, even if that is your job, your possessions, your home, or your honor in the world. Such belief means decision. You see, at some point in Bonhoeffer's life, living in Germany at that time, he could see with prophetic clarity what was going on around him. He could see that the yes to God demanded a faithful no to all in life that contradicts justice, goodness, truth, freedom, care for the weak and poor, and reverence for the holy. Yes implies no. You cannot serve God wholeheartedly and something else at the same time. The criterion for the Christian is the cross of Christ, as Paul taught it to the new communities of faith in the midst of empire. It meant dying to all other claims on your will, your conscience, your heart, your body. Let me give an example of the expectations and demands of such historical circumstances. The powers of government and organized religion in Bonhoeffer's time would be in such solidarity that everything and everyone we hold sacred would be mocked and discarded. It would not happen all at once like an earthquake or a tornado, and it would be obvious. Instead, it would happen like a frog in the pot when the temperature is turned up slowly. As people of faith and conscience, we will always stand for life. We will always stand for love. But Bonhoeffer was very aware that sometimes historical circumstances are such that it is better for an honest person to lie than it is for a liar to tell the truth. We know when that time is upon us. The institutions that safeguard our rights and freedoms are undermined. The media, courts, and legislative bodies are barely tolerated and then dismissed. When that happens, if that happens, pieces of our own family, members of our own family would disappear. The mocking, death-dealing scoffers fight against everything we stand for. And this has real implications for the real people that we love. Immigrants and foreigners, gone. The homeless, gone. Adam and Tim and Ashley, gone. Hubert, Ida, gone. Patricia, Rita, gone. Margot, Dr. Becky, gone. Herb Tucker and his family, gone. Liberals, gone. Dissenting political leaders, teachers, lawyers, clergy, targets of institutions that were to safeguard us, gone. Well, thank God we don't live in such a time and place where and when everything we hold sacred is on the edge of being lost. You see, this is what Jesus means when he says, let your yes be yes, let your no be no. And do not swear by heaven or by earth. But be a person where your word is impeccable. And I thank God. I thank God that we have among us people with integrity and deep conviction that will fight for what inclusion and justice and spirituality means and the kind of world that it creates. This is the meaning of the word about life. Let your yes be yes to life. Let your yes be yes to life and love. And your no be no to lies and to death. Amen.